Hello everyone, welcome to this session of collection, and in today's collection we are going to study about linked list. So let me just study about the little bit concept of linked list, what actually linked list is and how does it work. So for creating a linked list, I'm not going on to the properties of the linked list right now, the rules and the various attributes which it is associated with. I'm not going on to that. I'm just going on to the concept of what linked list is. Okay, so for a single linked list, if let us assume, because we are working on collections, it means we are adding up the objects first of all. So let me just assume, say we are adding the objects like this: 20, 10, 45, 78 and 90. Okay, so 20 for 20, 10, 45, 78 and 90, all of these objects, these are all of them are objects. Which type of objects they are? For now they are integer type of objects, because we are mentioning in our class that we are working on the integer type of objects, right? So how they are going stored into the linked list, I'll just give you a thorough concept so that you will get to understand that. Okay, so this each and every linked list, each linked list is basically, it is called as a linked list because it is linked to some nodes. Like in the array, if I'll say this is an array, this array will be having the memory locations in a consecutive manner, right? So this will be your, say, 0 index, this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4. So in array, the elements are arranged in a consecutive manner because the memory locations which have been given to us are in a continuous manner. But when it comes to the linked list concept, the underlying data structure of the linked list is basically doubly linked list. So what is this doubly linked list? Well, just keep aside the word doubly. Let us just discuss about the linked list now again. So every linked list is consisting of some nodes. So now what are these nodes? Like if I'll say, if this is an array, this will be a single, I can say an index value, right? A memory location in a simpler word. Similarly, every node is somewhat different than this. I can call it as a node if this node will be having, if this value will be having, if this memory location will be having 3 parts. So every node, this whole of this thing is called as a node. I'll just mark it and I will above call it as a node. Okay, this is node 1. So this node 1 is, every node is having 3 parts. Okay, the first part is the previous, the second part is the data, and the third part is the next. So if you can notice, I have just created so many nodes over here, and every node has 3 parts. This is node 2. Let me just say this is node 3. This is node 3, let us assume. So this is node 4 and this is node 5. So overall I have created 5 nodes over here. And if you can see, every node has 3 parts: the previous, the data, and the next. Now what are all of these 3 parts? So because these nodes are linked to each other, how they are linked to each other, let me also tell you that. So if I'll say the number 1 element I have to insert is 20, okay, from our point of view, from our perspective, in the memory it will be something like this. But in actually how it is going to store is, the 20 is the number, is the value, is the data. So it will be get storing into the data itself, right? The 10 is the next integer we have inputted. So it will be again stored into the data. 45 will be stored over here. 78, let us assume it's storing here. 90, it is storing here. So every node has its value provided. But where are the links, right? So every time, it is not like that, like this, the values get stored. No, every time what happens now, initially when there is no node available, firstly it is being checked if this node is a new node or not, if it's the first very node or not. So to create a very first node, always the simple logic is that we will create the object of the class, and that object will be the first node of your linked list class. Okay. As I said, every node has its three parts. The first part is the previous part. Previous means it has the address of the previous node. But because it is the first node, so the value of previous will be null. That is but obvious because it is not connecting to anyone right now. So it will be having the value as null. Similarly, when I have put up the data over here, that is assume 20, now comes up the next value. So this node next for now is null, right? For now it is null. Unless and until we will be creating another node, we will be giving a command that we have to create another node. I have to add one more element to it. So now what it will check? We will do one thing. I will be taking a temporary variable now, and I am assuming that this first node, the head node, this will be called as the head node because it is the first node of my linked list. Therefore, I will be creating, this is called as the head node, by the way, the first very node. Okay. And I will be creating a temporary variable, and I will be taking it as starting it from the head. So I will be checking if it is my first node or not. So what am I going to do? I will check if head is equal to null. If the value of head is equal to null, that means head is not having any of the value, then add a new node and mark it as the head. But because we have already created a head value, I have already created a new node and now we have marked it as head. Next time when I will be adding 10 to it, it will definitely not go onto this section, right? What it will do now, I will be creating a new variable as temp, and I will be marking this temp as head. I am just marking. Why? There is a reason for it. I'll be explaining it in somewhat later. Okay. So what I'm doing is I will be writing that statement it as, for example, I have created a node temp and I am giving it the value of what? Head. Why I am doing this? So that this temp will be considered as the head of head for now. So what I will do now, I will check if temp.next is equal to null, which it is, right? Because temp.next, again I will be repeating, this is my temp node, this is my head node. हेड के साथ कोई छेड़खानी नहीं की गई है, वो इसीलिए उसको हेड रखा गया है ताकि, और टेम्प इसलिए लिया गया है, अगर मैं ये टेम्प वेरिएबल जो है एज अ टेम्परेरी वेरिएबल यूज कर रही हूँ, so that I can iterate it every single time and I can just have the address or I can access every node. So अगर मैंने head के साथ कोई भी छेड़खानी कर दी, I will be definitely not having the concern for the previous node, right? So उसी चीज के लिए I have taken a temporary variable for now and I will be working with this variable only. Okay, so now I will check if temp dot next, अगर उसकी वैल्यू null है तो आप क्या कर दीजिए, temp dot next. Okay, so now if temp dot next is equal to null, sorry, is not equal to null, then we will move on. But for now, temp dot next is equal to null, right? So what we will do now, so when temp dot next is equal to null, what we will do, we will insert a new node and I will link this node with the temp dot next. How? I will show you. So I will just show an arrow. One second now. I'll just show this arrow like this. So it means that this node's address is being stored into temp.next. How? I'm just giving an example. Okay. So for example, 10101 is the address of this node. So this 10101 will get stored in over here. In this way, this new node is being connected to the previous node. So now again we will say that temp.next is having some value. It is pointing to an address, to home address, to the node 2's address. And when we will be adding up new node, then definitely I'll be saying that 10 has to be added. Now if for the third time, if this new node has to be added 45, what I will do, I will check now again. What is head? Head we already have, right? So I will be adding a new variable temp again. I will be checking if temp.next is null. But here, see, here temp.next is not null. So what we will do, I will say temp.next में आप क्या temp में क्या value डाल दीजिए, temp.next. टेम्प के नेक्स्ट में आप क्या वैल्यू डाल दीजिए, टेम्प में आप डाल दीजिए टेम्प का नेक्स्ट. सो टेम्प का नेक्स्ट क्या था, ये वाली नोड का एड्रेस, ये हमने किस में डाल दिया, टेम्प में, राइट. सो टेम्प अब किसको पॉइंट कर रहा है, इस नोड को, करेक्ट. अगेन इट विल चेक इज टेम्प डॉट नेक्स्ट इक्वल टू नल. फॉर नाउ yes, it is equal to null. And if it is equal to null, what we are going to do, ये जो न्यू नोड हमने ऐड की है, इसका एड्रेस हम इसको क्या कहेंगे, किस में सेव कर दीजिए, इस नेक्स्ट में. सो अगेन फिर से अगर सपोज इसका एड्रेस है 1234, तो ये 1234 हम किसको प्रोवाइड करेंगे, इस टेम्प के नेक्स्ट में, करेक्ट. एंड द डेटा 45 विल बी एडेड ओवर हेयर और नल है, इसका नेक्स्ट अभी नल है. ओके, सो अगेन दिस न्यू नोड will be pointing, so this will be pointing, this will be putting on an address over here, and this is how the new nodes are being added to the linked list. And now this is a new linked list which has 3 elements added over here. Hope you guys understand how to add new elements to a linked list. Thank you very much.